Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's my opponent to go first. I have a fairly gruesome rack. I have a lot of high scoring tiles and I have 2 vowels, so ordinarily one wouldn't think of changing, but these vowels are really clunky. It's going to be hard to play a move and leave myself with a decent rack leave for next go. I'll see what my opponent plays. Okay, that's a good start for him. So what can I do here? I don't like keeping the U and the V. I've got the E of zetas to play through. Gosh, this is a really grim rack. Well now, this might score reasonably well. 34 points. I think the points justifies retaining the U and the V. And that's quite an unusual position. Ordinarily the best move would always involve splitting up the V and the U. That was an extremely tricky rack to deal with. Now, this is good. I've got the blank, and although I don't have a bingo, I will be able to resolve my rack. VUG is a word, and that would leave DET blank, which would be an excellent leave. Well, my opponent's got off to a flying start with 48 and 47 points. I can't reach the triple word square at 01. I could play Vugs at E8 down, but that's going to score fewer than 10 points, so that's not very good. So what else can I play? I think Vagued. Gosh, is Vagued good? Vague is clearly good, so I could play that at G7 down. 15 points. Still not very much. But with the blank, it's a priority to leave myself with a decent rack leave, and that does involve playing off the G, the U, and the V. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking of. Slightly annoying not knowing or not being sure of Vagued. But I may be confusing Vague and Vogue in terms of their hooks. That's a nice rack. What do I have? Well, Vague has blocked the use of the S of zetas, so this board is pretty blocked. I have deletive at K6 across, but I am expecting my opponent to play in and around the bottom of Vague, perhaps onto 08. Okay, he hasn't. Isleted is good. Waff does take an S, it's short for waste of flesh. And Isleted has no anagrams. Now that Isleted is not going to score a lot, and it's going to open up row O, so it would be better to play through the F, and I can do that. Filleted. Great. I don't think there are any better bingo lanes to consider. So filleted for 76. Yeah, a higher scoring bingo lane would be in row K, going through the W and the E, but that would be a 9-letter word, and I don't think I have a word that goes. Now, score-wise, I'm 16 points ahead, which with my opponent on turn is effectively nothing. I don't have a bingo, but this is a reasonable rack. There are a few hotspots on the board now. Column 1, from the Sea of Cokes down to the triple word square, is one such. I can't see a play which reaches that from my rack. And the other hotspots are really the floaters in filleted. Okay. I'm looking in column 8 to see if I've got something through the blank onto the triple word square. Can't see anything. I'm looking to see if I can place my H at the triple letter square at N10 and have a 5-letter word going onto the double word square at N14. That would score well, and I can't see such a play. So, the top left of the board is pretty taken out. I'd like to play off my V. So how best to do that? Wow, this is tricky. I suppose the obvious play is high, which is 20 points, which is not great. Certainly plays off one of the duplicate I's and the V, but it leaves a vowel heavy leave, and that's not great. Having said that, a vowel heavy leave goes reasonably well with the Sea of Cokes in column 1, and Hive may draw my opponent over to the floaters it's provided. Having said that, it would be nice to play off one more vowel. But I can't see a way of doing that. Jolly good, I don't get punished. I draw 3 consonants, which is great. I have all 1-point tiles, and they're quite bingo-y tiles. I have the anti-prefix, reuniter. That's a good play by my opponent. Just check that it's good. I'm pretty certain that it is. Yep, that's fine. Now I have contra in column 1. In ornate would have played onto the E of filleted if my opponent had not played there. Just wondering if I have a 7-letter bingo. There are bingo lanes in columns 9, 11 and 13. I can't see a 7. It would be very high probability, so it's certainly one that I would have studied. Now, what are the floaters available? for an 8-letter word. I'm not sure that there's any. Yeah, there's none. Okay, great. Well, I don't need to consider them then. So, contra would leave IN. That's not bad. Reuniter will take an S on the end. Playing off 5 tiles increases my chances of drawing an S. I don't draw an S. I do have a balanced rack with no duplicates. I'm 30 points behind and my opponent's on turn. So I may need a bingo to get the lead back. I have Blin at L8 down for 24 points. I'd like to play off the B and the U. I don't have a 7-letter bingo. This is quite a tight board. The whole of the top left of the board is unavailable. The V of vague has really crushed the top of the board. So we're really looking at the right-hand side of the board and the very bottom. I don't have any tiles which go after hive. I could play, well, I could play bum at H13 down, which gets rid of my 3 least bingo-y tiles, but it leaves a vowel-heavy rack leave. Retaining the M is not bad, so if I could play off just the B and the U and get a decent score, that may be worth considering. Can't see anywhere to do that. Well, I could play rub at N1 across, but that's a pretty dismal score. Or at K5 takes an E after it. Okay, that's a good score for my opponent. So, how can I develop the top of the board? Because with my opponent now having a 50-point lead, it's in his interest to really shut things down. Well, I could play imbue down here. She's going to score about 20 points. There's still a blank unseen, so playing off 5 tiles is good. AN's an okay leave. Exactly 20 points. It stops my opponent from playing onto the triple word square in row H, and it generates floaters, so it is opening up the whole of the top of the board. That's pretty good. I have centaur, uncrate, untrace, and there may be a 4th. And uncrate and untrace play in column 13. Is there a 4th bingo? Well, that's a good play by my opponent. He's blocking column 13, so untraced doesn't play. I don't have anything which goes after Well, I have the U, that goes after it. Nothing goes after, well, the C goes after my. So, uncrate doesn't play, untrace doesn't play, centaur doesn't play. Ah, Untrace and Uncrate do now play in column 9. Great, I am bingoing. Is there anything I am missing? Well, there may be something through BA in row E. And there may be a fourth anagram of centaur. Maybe I'm thinking of 4 anagrams of centaurs. Maybe there is just the 3 of centaur. Okay, so Uncrate scores the most. Q is still unseen, so row A is really hot. Uncrate 67. Eloined. That doesn't go anywhere. But my opponent may create an opening if he plays in row A. If I don't have a bingo, I don't have any high scoring tiles on my rack. I've got a 9-point lead. Well, my opponent has done very well with his scoring. That's another 51 points to him. So what can I do with Eloined? Is there anything onto the R or the A or the C of Uncrate? Not that I can see. There are 19 tiles left, including the blank. There's 7 on my opponent's rack. Dweebovision would be playable through an S and an I. That's not available. I've got a D for going after imbue, but I don't have a 6-letter word beginning ed. Well, this is quite challenging. Let's look at the vowel situation. Quite a few vowels unseen, including 4 O's, so I'd certainly don't want to leave myself with a vowel-heavy rack leave. I'd like to leave the floaters in Uncrate alone so that they are available for me. Well, I could play a really open move in row N, something like do or redone. Actually, redone has merit. Plays off a lot of tiles, which increases my chances of drawing the unseen blank. Scores 31 points, which is good. The rack leave of IL is balanced, although obviously not great. Can I play in this same spot and make a better play? Be good to retain the N rather than the L. There's 2 L's unseen. The L is not a great letter. Well, nope, I can't see anything better. I do not draw the blank, and I don't have a great rack. I haven't drawn well. And the remaining tiles are quite bingo-y. My opponent could well have a bingo right now. But I think it was important to keep scoring. If I keep scoring, I've got the opportunity of winning without bingoing. And there are only the floaters in uncrate, so if I hadn't opened the board up on that go, my opponent could simply have closed down uncrate. Okay, 31 points, that's not terrible. And actually the ED ending in column 15 means that column 15 is a bingo lane. Now, certainly want to play off the W and one of the I's. 2 O's out there, so really bingo-y tiles left. I don't have a bingo. I've got just under 6 minutes to make my remaining moves. Wow, this is tricky. It's very hard to sort this rack out in just one move. Well, this isn't bad. 26 points and a rack leave of A, I, L, R. It does block the C of uncrate, but it doesn't block the R, which is the best floater. And still no blank. I am 34 points behind. So this is looking a little bit grim. I have opened up a 7-letter bingo lane with Wino from C1 across. There are 8 tiles in the bag, 7 on my opponent's rack. There are no I's left, so my duplicate I isn't going to get worse. 29 points for my opponent. I am now 63 points behind. I've got just under 5 minutes. There are 4 tiles in the bag. All of the tiles that are left are really bingo-y. I need to play off exactly 3 tiles. So I need to play off the I, the O and the L. Oil. Wow. Where can I play that? I could play it in row B at B12 for only 8 points. Trouble with scoring so few points is that if my opponent scores well next go, a bingo may not be enough to catch him. I could play Royal in row N, but again that's only 8 points. If I play in column 14 making Joe, well, I couldn't play Oil, I'd have to play something else, and I'd be opening up row 15, column 15, and column 15 is a bingo lane, and it's a high-scoring bingo lane. Is there somewhere better for ILO? I don't want to spend too long thinking about this because I may need thinking time for my bingo. Well, maybe my opponent will try and block the board without scoring well. He may be deterred from playing across from h12 because he would be providing a floater at h15. Great. I've got strainer at d1 across. Wow, I've probably got plenty here. What I don't have is a great deal of time. I am 55 points behind. Strainer is at least a double. Goes through a double word square. What do I have in column 15? Resonated. Resonated, that's good. That'll be 80 points. That's excellent. Okay, what do I have in row C ending in E? In snare or starny? 70 points. Strainer was 66 points, so starny in row C is better than strainer. Can I play in row C onto the C of uncrate? That would have to end NC or SC. No, that's not going to work. What do I have in column 14 parallel to jape? J takes an A and an O. After it, I don't have a 7. But there's erosion. Does that go? Yes, it does. 76 points. I may have something which runs parallel to the whole of jape. I think the only thing which could really scupper me would be if my opponent got a bingo now. But I'm going to keep focused on my own rack. Ratines runs parallel to jape. Great. That might be more than 80 points. Well, this is excellent. Okay, 33 points. So I am 81 and 7, 88 points behind. I'm going to get 8 on countback. I need 80 to draw. I can play starny in column 15. Just want the confirmation that this is enough. $83. That would be enough. Okay, now there may be something better which runs parallel to more of the letters. I'll just see if I can see any. So, anestry, retinas, retains, stainer, starny, steerin. Steerin, I like it. Hopefully there's time to do this rejig. Okay, steering 94 points. Large or anion pen are all good. Steering. Okay, there probably is something even better which extends to the HER, but I am content with steering. 94 points. Great. Well, that was a fabulous game. I agree with Eliminos's comment. I thought he did have the game won, and maybe he did have a winning play when he had the loner's rack. But anyway, the final score is 407 to my opponent, 421 to me, so a winning margin of 14 points. Let's see what I missed. Okay, this was my horrible first rack, and Calf looks like it was one of the highest scoring plays. Haku would have scored 2 points more, but I think DUV, despite having the U and the V, was a better rack lead than DFV. Okay, Vague did take a D after it, so certainly that would have been better than Vague. And I could have played Duvet at G7. Okay, I didn't consider that. Here there were several bingos, and Filleted was the best. This was a rack I struggled with, and Vaheen. Yeah, that would have been a nice play, 32 points. Hive, by comparison, I think was a lot worse. Great, I didn't miss a bingo here. Cannot, leaving IR. Well, all of those moves score the same and are quite similar. This was a tricky rack. I played Imbue for 20. I could have played My All for 23. Okay, running down beside Reuniters. I prefer Imbue because I was looking to open the board up. Well, Uncrate and Untrace were the only bingos. And here, I see the suggestion is playing Doline and making Chi and B for 28 points. But I think Redone was better. It made the bottom half of the board more volatile and therefore preserved the opportunities in the top left of the board. Okay, now this was where I played Royal. I think, yeah, I'm 60 points behind. It's got to be the right thing to balance my rack. If you look at the top suggestions there. Well, sorry, this isn't where I played Royal. This is where I played Wino. And I think Wino is better than Weight because of the rack leave. This is where I played Royal. And I am 60 points behind. So, were some of these moves actually better? Well, looking at the rack leave of these suggestions, none of them are particularly attractive. Certainly Royal looks good. C11 Ilya, that's not a bad leave. Ilya and Liam. Okay, but it does take out column 14 bingo opportunities. Okay, that's probably a move which you'd need to analyse to really find out what was good. And this is just a fabulous final rack. What do you dream of? And look at that, I could have topped the 100-point mark with Arsenic, Nailers, or Reagents, but Steering was not far behind. So that was a great game. It was really close. I thought, well, really close at the end. For a lot of it, I was behind, and it was a case of going through the motions and doing the right thing, but not necessarily in the expectation that that one would win. I think my opponent was a clear favourite, and I was fortunate to be able to bingo out and to get the blank just when I needed it at the end. So That was an exciting game. I hope you enjoyed watching it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.